Hi guys, it's Brittany. So today's gonna be a popcorn chat video, and today we're going to talk about Titanic. And I love Titanic. It's my favorite romance um disaster movies. Um I just love it. I think the first time I watched it, I was like 12, and then I got it on DVD for my 13th birthday, which of course I still have. Um, so yeah, I just love how it was made and how it's put together and how it was directed it by James Cameron because he directed the movie. As you all know, he also wrote the fictional story for Titanic, and he edited it as well. And he did such a great job with the movie. And even the cast is amazing. And I'm not sure who else could have put the cast together. And I'm not sure who else could have been in there other than what who we see. Like Leonardo DiCaprio as Jack, Kate Winslet as Rose, and these other great actors in the movie. And their performances are great, and I love watching it. And and of course, even the music, even though the music may um even though the music may sound sad, at the same time the music is just great. Like it's great but also sad to hear, but it's very moving. It's also moving it in a sad way because it was just done so well by James Horner. And I have to say he did such a good job when he composed the music for Titanic. Like, especially when it came to the really sad part. I mean, I don't know how he did it, and I'm not sure how they were able to make the music sound so sad. What's the word for it? There's another word for it. Like I'm not sure how they made the music like so sad where it just by listening to that it makes you cry. Like I'm not sure how they did it, but I would love to watch like behind the scenes of how they compose the music because just by listening to it, especially when it gets more intense and it gets more sad, the music gets more sad. So it's like, uh, um, and of course, I love the song "My Heart Will Go On." And here's the funny thing: it's not the song that makes me cry; it's the music. Cause now, of course, I can listen to "My Heart Will Go On," but of course, now when I hear the song, I can hear it. I can able to listen to it, but at the same time, it'll still remind me of the movie, and it will remind me of certain parts of the movie. Between Jack and Rose. So I mean, I can listen to it. So it's not the song itself that makes me cry, it's the music. The music composed by James Horner. It's the music itself that makes me feel, sad, especially when it gets to the ending and then it just gets really moving but sad. Like it moves you in such a sad way that it does make you want to cry, especially because of how sad the ending is. And now, as sad as I get by watching it, including the ending, I can't help but to love the movie because you know, it's such a really great story with these characters. Of course, you got the characters that are based on real life people that were on the Titanic, at the time. But then you got those fictional characters that are part of it in a movie, even though they were never real. Like even though those fictional characters were never had that name in real life and were never, at the time of the real events of what happened to Titanic, which is really sad. It's like, yet with these fictional characters, it's like somehow they do seem real in a way. They seem real by, I think, when the audience seems to connect with them, personally and emotionally, and just feel what they feel. So I think, in a way, those fictional characters are real, but only in the movie world and only in the fictional story of Titanic for the movie. Um, yeah, I just, like I said, I just love the movie. I love how it was made and how everything was put together, like the way it was directed it and the music and the song, by Celine Dion, and and the cast and their performances are just great, really great. And I don't get tired of it. I mean, considering it's like 3 hours long, I just don't get tired of it. I don't. To me, it's like I can watch a movie, whether if it's like an hour, 2 hours, three, maybe four, I would still watch it. So, um, of course, I think as you all know, um, yeah. So, of course, my favorite character would have to be Jack, but I would have to say Rose as well because she's also a strong character, and I think she'll do anything. Um, I think what she believes in, and so and there's, I think there's times where she's like defended for herself, especially for defended for herself in front of her fiance, and so yeah, of course there are certain parts in the movie that I like. Here's the thing: there are parts that I like where I feel happy at that moment, especially if, between Jack and Rose. But then, of course, when it starts to get more, serious and things start to take a whole different turn towards the end. Here's the thing: I noticed that even like getting towards the end, um, like even way before anything else happens. But yeah, I noticed that when it's like getting close to the end, and that when when the ship just hit the iceberg and things starts to escalate fast, and and of course when certain things just start to take on this whole different turn. Here's the thing: I noticed that the more it starts getting towards the ending where people are scared and they're panicking, I start to feel really nervous. you know that's the part where when they're scared, they're panicking, they're screaming. It's like I feel bad of what's going on, and I start to feel really nervous, and I feel nervous because I'm like, oh no, I know what's coming, I know what's gonna happen, and I know what's going to happen at the end, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel nervous. But when I do start to feel nervous, my stomach hurts. It does, because, well, that's just how I am, like no matter what. And so yeah, when I feel them, like I'm like, oh boy, like, oh, you know. So I'm like that. I'm like, okay, I know what's coming, and I don't like it. But then, of course, once it does get to the end where that happens, and even like for those, like for those people who died, at the end, and yeah, even I'll just say this though, that when Jack, when he says his last words to Rose, when he, okay, I'll just say this, which I hope I don't cry or anything, but when he tells her how she's gonna live her life and she's gonna grow old, she's gonna get married and have kids and live her whole life. So that's the part where I start to feel really sad. I'm like, oh no, I know why he's saying this. And now this is the part that really hits me hard, is when he says that winning the ticket was the best thing that happened to him because it brought him to her. Now, when he says that, that's where I cry really hard. And just now, I kind of felt like I wanted to cry because when every time he says that, it just hits me like in the chest. It hits me hard, and I just cry when I hear that because I think he wanted her to know, like how meeting her, like how having her in his life, even for a short amount of time, how it made a difference in his life. And just by hearing them, like, that gets to me. It really does. So that's the part where I start to cry the first time. And of course, the second time where, of course, I cry even more is when she tries to wake him up. But the thing is, he's not sleeping. He actually froze to death. And because of that, it's like, here's the thing. No, the thing is with that part is like when she's doing this, moving his hand, and she's like trying to wake him up, but she starts to cry, and she starts to realize that he died. He froze to death, in the cold water. Because the water was like ice cold. So I think maybe within minutes or seconds, probably, that he froze to death when she probably didn't even know exactly when that happened. So here's the thing. So when she's trying to wake him up and realizing that he has died and that she's beginning to cry herself. So when that happens, all of a sudden, that's when the music comes in. That's when the sad music comes in. And when that happens, then I start to cry so hard. Um, I have this scene in my head, which of course I'm like, no, don't you dare. I mean, if I was watching it right now, there's no doubt about it. I would probably be crying right now if I was watching it. But because I'm only mentioning it, it still makes me feel sad, even just by mentioning it, because it's like, it's just so sad. About to say this, other than that, like I said, it's just a really great story. Like, it is romantic, but it's mostly very, very, very sad at the end. And it is. I still cry hard every time I watch it because, I mean, I cry. Now here's the thing. I don't really cry like hysterically. Kind of like how some people make it seem like. In certain movies where you see a woman crying hysterically and she's like talking and she's talking but she doesn't make sense because she's like no, I don't really cry like that. In case you're wondering, but no, mine mine is more like if I kind of like if someone says something mean to me, or kind of like if I heard some bad news myself and all of a sudden I'm so sad, like I'm so really sad, where it's it's kind of like I'm crying so hard where I feel like, kind of like if I really heard some bad news myself, or kind of like if someone just said something that I didn't like what they said, and somehow they really hurt my feelings and all that. Because sometimes that happens. Well, not sometimes, no. But I feel like there are times where I do feel hurt of certain things, but yeah, that's how I cry. It's like so hard. It's not even like hysterically, it's more like it's just sad. Anyway, so but yes, I love this movie, and of course, I do love the performances, and I think that's why I cry at the end, because I think because knowing what he wanted to say to her, and even when she said, oh yeah, even when he made that promise to her and saying, never let go, it's like, well, I cry hard not because it's like, um, when, I don't know, but I cry at that part too because even when she says, I'll never let go, I promise, it's because even though he's passed, even though he passed away, she's saying to him already that the promise that he made, like for her to never let go of that promise, I think to live her life and to move on. So, in other words, when she says that she'll never let go of that promise and that she will do what she needs to do and that's to move on. So, even by hearing that, I'm like, oh, it is so sad. So, it's like, you know. Anyway, this is going a bit long, but oh, I think as you can tell from my other videos that this. And speaking of Titanic, I'm wearing the necklace. I'm wearing the Heart of the Ocean necklace, and I got this from an app called Wish. I'm not a sponsor of Wish, but I did got it off of it, and it's just so pretty, and I love this necklace. I really do. So but yes, like I said, other than that, I love everything about Titanic, and like I said, it's not the song. Now, with My Heart Will Go On, I love listening to it. That one doesn't make me feel sad. It does make me cry, but it's the music. It's the sad music that makes me cry. And the music, of course, is composed by James Horner. He did such a good job composing the music. I don't know how he did it, but he did it so well where it's just makes you cry. Especially I think knowing it's supposed to make you cry when you watch the movie, or even just by hearing it, that it's supposed to make you tear up inside and like, okay, you're gonna cry because this music's sad. So yes, I do love the movie, and now of course, uh I have to say Titanic was the first movie I watched with um Leonardo DiCaprio. Like that was the first movie I've watched of his, which of course I had a crush on him at the time. I still do, but I don't brag about it. um and yeah, I love his performance as Jack, and I love everyone's performance in that movie. And yeah, I have to say it is my favorite. I mean, considering it is a romance movie, but at the same time it's this disaster movie where it's so sad at the end. At the same time, it's my favorite because like I said, it's such a great story with these characters and the performances, and it moves me. It really does. So it's kind of like the this love story between Jack and Rose. It just like I feel happy for them, and of course, like I think their love for each other just moves me. Like, wow, like it shows you how another person can make an impact on somebody else, and how things can go further between two people. You know and and of course, let's just say it really makes me sad, and it tears me apart to see that how Jack had to die, and how and because he died, that he wasn't going to be part of her life. That he would never able to get the to do things with her of maybe what they hoped to do, or maybe what she thought would happen, but never got to, because of that, of how sad it got. So anyway, now I did had a dream though. I did had a dream about last year, how there's this very alternate ending of Titanic. How, what if the Titanic didn't hit the iceberg? And if it didn't, what would happen if Jack and Rose and everyone else on the Titanic did arrive to New York and that everyone got off safely? So I did have a dream about that. And if you want to hear that dream, I will do a video on that because ever since I had that dream, I'm like, I want to talk about it. Like, I want to mention it in my video because it's like, because in this dream, it showed me, like, what if there was this whole different ending, to Titanic? Like, what if that happened? But let's say if they show that, what if somehow that was maybe a dream that Rose had? So if you want to hear that dream, I will do a video on that. Just leave a comment below. And that's it for this popcorn chat video on Titanic. And yes, talking about the ending did make me feel whew, a bit sad because I was like, no, don't cry. But yeah, I just love it. Like I said, it's just a great movie, great story, and everything about it is just so touching and so moving, and that's what I love about it. So anyway, if you love Titanic, please leave a comment down below, and that's all for today. And I'll see you at the movies.